Hi and welcome. Today I have a art tag to show you, and it all started with a piece of mixed media paper that I cut on my Cricut. And now I'm going to add some texture paste. This is the Crackle through Stencil, and this is a Stampers Anonymous Tim Holtz stencil. It could be any stencil, but I'm spreading it on like butter. Kind of like peanut butter. And then lifting up as straight as you can without messing it up. And quickly before it dries, I want to add some distressed glaze. This is in the color Speckled Egg, and just kind of tapping underneath to make it move into the right spot. And I gotta let that dry. And here in Florida, it takes longer than what it takes Tim. So I leave mine sometimes overnight, but at least a couple hours. So I'm embossing with my embossing tool. And then I have some frayed burlap. It's a spray Oxide. And then the other one is the linen. It's a vintage linen, old linen. I'll have it listed. I can't ever remember the name of that one. And then I'm just kind of spreading them around a little bit with my brush and some water. And I'm just going to give a little bit of spatter with the frayed burlap. And then I sprayed some water in my hand and just kind of flicked it onto my page. Now I have some scorched timber, and I'm just going to give it some spritz, or not spritz, some splatters. And then drop just a little bit into the centers of the flowers. And give it a dry. And then I decide I need a little bit more just around the edges of that scorched timber. And since it's still on my mat, I just kind of use my brush and move it onto the tag a little bit. And any spots got too much, I just kind of dab it off. And now I'm taking a this is a dried wet wipe, and I'm just got a tiny bit wet, and I'm taking off anything that might be sitting on top of the glaze. I mean, the glaze will resist anything, but something can sit on it and dry. So I'm just taking anything off of it. And that's going to be my focal image, that bird. And so I've got some speckled egg and some salvaged patina. And I'm just going to be dipping it into the two different colors and drying to get a layered inked look. once it's dry, I'm going to be applying onto the bird this collage paper. It's from Ideology, Tim Holtz, and it's the botanical collage paper. And so I get it on and I cut off a bunch of excess, and then I just need another tiny piece to extend to the tail. I start to put that on and I realize, oh, I don't want a straight line there, so I get out my water brush and make a frayed edge that will help to make it so it's not really seen. And there's so many edges there that are not conducive for applying this, so I work at it a little bit to try to get the edges clear, and ultimately I just set it down to let it dry, because while it's wet it's not really doing anything. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside to dry, and I'm going to work on the branch that the bird will be sitting on. And I cut this on my Cricut as I did the bird. The branch I cut out of black cardstock, while the bird I cut out of mixed media paper. And I added that embossing gel with the dauber, and now I'm adding the scorched timber embossing glaze. And it's going to be really dark because it's on black. And then I emboss it. So now I can go and fussy cut around this bird. Maybe there's a better way, and if you know one, let me know. Okay, so I got the bird cut out, I got the branch ready, and just figuring out where it's going to go. I'm going to go around the edge of the bird just to kind of, so it's not like a white edge. And that's with Vintage Photo. And I'm going to attach a bow up top, and this is seam binding, which when I have leftover ink on my mat, sometimes I add it to some papers, but other times I bring out some of my seam binding and just kind of dye it and let it sit and wait for when I need to use it, and that's the case here. I'm pretty sure this is probably speckled egg and maybe vintage linen or one of those. whatever the linen one is. And I'm just going to attach that with some collage medium. And also the bird. So the bird's on. Just going to need a little bit more underneath that branch. And now I'm going to add a little punch that's going to hang from the bow. And it's a circle punch that I use to cut out little pieces of that ticket booth stamp. Stampers Anonymous ticket booth. And so I just punch it out. It's on some scrapbook paper, and I have gone around the edges with some vintage photo, and now I'm using my roto punch to make a very small hole that I can put a thread through to hang from my bow. And I just tie it onto the bow. And the strings, just so they don't stick out like a sore thumb, I'm just running them through the vintage photo ink. And the very last thing is to add a sentiment. And so I'm just taking one from the Ideology Small Talk by Tim Holtz. And they're sticky, but I put some glue on them because they're not quite sticky enough for this. And I believe it says own your dreams. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you have not subscribed yet, please do, and give me a thumbs up. And you guys have a great day.